Hi, folks, and welcome to another Witty Whistle, your go-to all things League of Ireland. This Friday, tomorrow, just around the corner, perhaps Shamrock Rovers can seal the title. Would that be easy? Would that be straightforward? Well, that's a massive question, and we'll try to answer it with our dear commentators, with Cornell and John O'Shea, as we dive into the potential title-deciding clash. We also will go through the key fixtures and what does that mean for the season. So we'll break down how Shamrock Rovers is close to secure the title, how is the race for European spots at this point, the relegation battles, and also the weekend's biggest talkers points. So join us on the chat box, add your comments, your questions, your concerns. We are happy to pick as we go along. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, it would be great if you can. And also hit that like button and share with someone who is into the League of Ireland action. Just before we get into the conversation, let me greet my commentator. John, has been a while. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Thank you, Vitor. Great to be back on, and great chatting with yourself and Cornell, and talking all things League of Ireland again.
Thank you,
Cornell. How are things on your end?
Oh, my things are where I am is fantastic. I'm hoping everything is all right where you are and where John is. So it's amazing to come on here again.
Excellent. Okay, let's deep dive into the games. There were a good few happening at the beginning of the week on that Monday, and perhaps we can start with one that I think was massive for both teams. So Sligo managed to bring 3 points from Galway, and those 3 points mean now they're seventh. And one wouldn't believe, let's say in spring, that at this point Galway would struggle to keep themselves in the Premier Division, and Sligo could breathe. I would like to get your comments on this, John.
Absolutely. Sligo, I think probably. I won't see probably for a good chunk of the season they've probably played above where the table probably kind of is a bit slightly misleading, I think, in terms of the performances that Sligo have probably produced, as the season has gone on. And if you're looking at especially the lower end of the table, they seem to be kind of the one team that seem to be on a kind of an up. They have been kind of gradually improving. Whereas if you look at maybe the likes of Galway and Waterford, for example, like they've started the season reasonably well, but in recent weeks they seem to be kind of slipping down and closer to relegation danger, and but certainly in the, at least the relegation playoff. And like I suppose based on current, like you have to think probably that Sligo probably should be able, on there is patches in games when they can be inconsistent, forget like even like the Kerry game, it was a prime example of that, in terms of that probably down maybe to the age profile of the side and whatnot. But don't fair, like it's probably like John Russell is definitely one of the top young managers in the league as well. The Sligo Rovers manager, and like I think maybe longer term, it could, like, if let's say down the line, if maybe jobs kind of like the likes of Rovers and Shells and Pats, if any of these clubs become domestically, you think his name is definitely going to be in the shake-up. They have decent bones of a squad, and like Owen Elding, they're probably one of the top young players in the league at the moment as well. And I think, mathematically, they're still very much, if you look at, they're still in the relegation playoff mix. But like, I think of the 3 or 4 teams down there, if I was to kind of call, no, I think Sligo will be fine. I don't think they'll be in the relegation playoff game come the end of the season.
Yeah, I recall, Cornell, at the start, February, March, you were a bit concerned with Sligo, especially with the recruitment, but I think they did some improvement in the summer. That is now reflected in the place that they are now.
Yeah, I was very concerned about Sligo, and I was concerned about their squad depth. I was concerned about John Russell, how he was doing as a manager, how he would cope, and he was on the verge of possibly being sacked, and some Sligo fans were calling for his head. for him to leave if he couldn't get it right and if he couldn't get the squad depth properly and get it done. But look, he's proven critics wrong. He's proven critics wrong that he can get build a team around the likes of Eldin and Jay Hackey and Kavanagh as well too. Look, I think this was one of the best wins that Sligo can be very proud of. I mean, they're in 7th place now. Yeah, they're slightly in the relegation playoff positions, but Sligo have proven that they'll finish in a very comfortable position this season. You can clearly see the fantastic improvements that have been done in Sligo's Rovers' team this season and why they are where they are in the table. Yes, I mean, they could be a bit more higher, but look, this is the best season that they have in this season. You can clearly see that Eldin is really one of the best players in the League of Ireland this season. He's proven once and for all that his quality and his ability is outstanding. I mean, look, 10 goals this season is just unbelievable this season. And you can clearly see that Eldin is really on the verge of being something really, really special and the reason why teams are after him. But Sligo performances this season have been outstanding. I mean, to beat Galway United, who have not been in their best of form, they haven't replaced Moses Dyer, who's still on the top scoring list with 10 goals this season. It's just not good enough from Galway United. And I think until they can replace, Dyer, then, the bad results are going to keep coming. So it's very difficult for Galway compared to Sligo.
Next one we have here, it's another team that is fighting for relegation, Waterford. They're also going down the hill and they didn't get it any easier with Rovers. Rovers are in a great form. They are winning one game after another. They're still soon they will start the European competitions, but perhaps they can secure the title beforehand. Would you like to comment, John, on this?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's like they're edging closer and closer, like to the lead, and like it's kind of fascinating because maybe you're thinking like maybe they probably haven't had to at times, but like the level, like you're seeing them playing in Europe, like against Santa Clara, and putting 2 outstanding performances. Maybe week in, week out, Rovers probably at times haven't played like even getting they're obviously drawing in Turner's Cross once, but also twice this season against Cork City. But it's just one thing that comes to my head. But I think definitely they're on the verge of getting this, and you got to say it probably will be on merit if they do win the league, because like pound for pound that they do have. I think the squad they have, like if you're looking at the guys they're bringing in, like Graham Burke on Monday night, Dylan Watts, like Rory Gaffney, Gary O'Neill, like and even like Aaron Green didn't even come on the last night against Waterford, but it showed like they're guys who probably would walk into any other Premier Division team, to be honest, in the league at the moment. Like they're edging ever closer. Like even they're like Matt Healy gone the score sheet twice well, and like even there's probably been some calls, even like obviously you've seen Josh Honohan being called up and mentioned in the Ireland senior squad setup. That like Matt Healy probably isn't too far away from that either. Like and there's like there are other like they go down and they get Waterford sometimes on paper isn't the easiest place to go and get a result, but fair play to them. They've down there and they got the win, and then like they're edging ever closer to a league title, and like, I suppose they'd be hoping to be kind of I suppose opening the champagne bottles and celebrating after a Dublin derby tomorrow night. But it's credit like to the operation that they have there, and Stephen Bradley as well, who's kind of he's a lot of character and a lot of I suppose a lot of big personalities and a lot of talents. So it's a big job. It's not easy at times to try to keep everyone happy. And even there's guys sometimes that maybe are going to be on the subs, and they're not. They want to be starting. And in fairness, like he seems to be a very good man manager, and he's certainly kind of got a very good tune over the Shamrock Rovers side. Not only this season, but over the last couple of years as well. And it could be an exciting couple of months for them as well, with the European games, and also there's still a double on the cards for them as well. So there's still plenty of legs in this season, and it could be a few exciting nights ahead for Shamrock Rovers over the next couple of weeks and months as well.
Cornell, I also remember that at some point Waterford were one of the underdogs, and we had high expectations. But slowly but surely, they are near the bottom. And I understand that with Rovers, they didn't get it any easy. I mean, Rovers are a top team in the League of Ireland, but they need to be careful because now every game counts till the end of the season.
Yeah, this result for Shamrock Rovers is an outstanding result for them. Increases their tally to 10 points up the top of the League of Ireland table. Obviously, they have the chance to become champions and clinch and seal the title with a win against Bows, or Drogheda does beats Derry to give Shamrock Rovers the title. Shamrock Rovers this season have been outstanding. They've been the best team this season. There's no doubt about it. There's no debate about it. Shamrock Rovers have proven to be the best quality side in the League of Ireland. Their vow was to win the League of Ireland for a 5th consecutive time. Their vow was to stop Shelbourne from retaining the title, and they have achieved that this season. Yes, of course, Shelbourne are obviously fighting for their European place as well too, but Rovers have been outstanding. You look at the way Stephen Bradley has managed this team. He has got this team to play some outstanding football this season. You look at their midfield from Matt Healy to Watts to Michael Noonan up front, Rory Gaffney to Burke. This is the best season that Shamrock Rovers can really ask for. They're going to be in Europe. They're going to be competing against the very, very best. Josh Honohan, a player that has been linked with Lincoln City, which I still believe he'll go to Lincoln City in January, and he has been outstanding this season for Shamrock Rovers. And Lopez, one of the greatest centre backs of all time in League of Ireland history and in the League of Ireland this season. This team is an outstanding team, and they are one step away from achieving their goal and being at the top. And I do see them really starting to dominate the League of Ireland after seasons, regardless if Stephen Bradley is there or he's not there. As for Waterford, I obviously dubbed this team as a underdog because at the end of the day, this team obviously got rid of their manager. They brought in Coleman, who obviously has experience of managing the League of Ireland, and we all thought they were going to pick up their form. Yes, of course, Alman's been in outstanding form this season, 13 goals this season. It's undeniable to say that he's one of the best players in the business now, but Waterford haven't really been at their best this season, and we haven't seen that. They're in a bad position where they don't want to be. They want to be mid-table, just like I said on Sligo being where they deserve to be. But I think, look, this result was coming. Every time Rovers got forward, every time they dominated the ball and got forward, and everything was all Rovers. Rovers have just been fantastic this season, but Waterford, I think they need to get some more results on the board, and also get some wins and gain some positivity and gain some momentum.
Next one is particularly painful for myself and John. 4-0 for Pats in Inchicore. I was at the game. I was just telling the lads off camera. I left after the 4th goal, which is something I never did in the past. I always stay to the end, but this time was too bad. Like I realized that there was no proper communication between the keeper and the defenders, and I've been on our keeper side for quite some time, but I don't know. On Monday there was some disconnect that I couldn't follow. I don't know what was wrong, but they were like speaking a different language and they couldn't really understand each other. But I'm keen to get your thoughts on this, John, as a Cork City fan.
Yeah, it was really brief. But I think, to be honest, like, you couldn't have any complaint. Like, Joe, it was a comfortable for Pats in the end. And obviously, Mason Millia stole the show again with 2 goals, and he very easily could have had more on the night as well. To be honest, it was probably too quite, like, hopefully from a Cork City perspective, it's not it's not a sign of maybe things to come with the FAI Cup semi-final next weekend. But yeah, you could have a few complaints in the end about the overall result, and it's it was probably for Pats. It kind of first of all, like from Pat's perspective, it kind of keeps them in the hunt for European football for next season through the league. And maybe I thought on paper before to see like with the other than Shamrock Rovers, I thought maybe they would have been probably Rovers' main challengers for the league, but it just hasn't. I think there's so much attacking potential, but maybe at the back there has been kind of a bit of inconsistencies there at times, from what I could see with Pats and not as consistent as Shamrock Rovers in terms of being week in week out, but like it's a win that they badly need, or they'll be hoping to kind of build on now and keep in the hunt for Europe through the league. I think from Cork City's perspective, it's like there's simply there's no margin forever really. So it's so I suppose they could have a few complaints, and even you see like the disappointment in the performance from the man John Nash afterwards, even his comments after the game. He was apologising to the Cork City supporters, and it wasn't, and it was probably out of character from some of the performances that Cork City had put in the last couple of weeks. There was that gradual improvement in the last couple of weeks in the performance, and in terms of there seems to be a clearer spine to the team as well, evident since Nash has gone in. And I suppose will be the most frustrating thing probably from a Cork City perspective was it was a complete contrast to the performance that they put in against Shamrock Rovers and a few days previous. But like it leaves Cork City now in a position where they're simply going to have to win every game now, at the end of the season, really, or like even if they look, they're in a situation now if they lose even tomorrow to Galway, their relegation to the first division is unfortunately from a Cork City perspective going to be all but confirmed. So they simply have to win every game, and even at that, they probably have to depend on results elsewhere to kind of go in their favour a bit as well.
Before we talk about the Pat's game, Cornell, I want to pick a comment here from Mo Leicester. He's saying, I would like to hear Cornell's thoughts on Shamrock Rovers being linked with Norwegian attacking midfielder Dixon Sider. Strong links to Lincoln also. Would you like to share your thoughts on this?
Oh my days! I can't. I can see what he's doing. I know what he's doing. I think he's making some serious joke. Honestly, look, I know that's fake. I know that's not a real rumor. Honestly, I don't believe that. I don't believe that when I see it. But listen, as I said in my previous comments, listen, I would love nothing more than to see Josh Honohan at Lincoln City Football Club. Obviously, I've always rated him as a player, and he would be outstanding. I know that Shamrock Rovers didn't want to lose him on deadline day, but listen, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But as an optimist, I'm rooting for Josh Honohan to move to Lincoln in January.
Okay, back to League of Ireland action. Your views on this dreadful game?
Oh my days! I can't. I don't even know what to say about Cork City, because this is the worst embarrassing defeat that I've ever seen since following and liking the League of Ireland. I mean, first of all, I have to talk about St. Pat's before I talk about Cork City. St. Pat's, honestly, outstanding performance against Cork City. They dominated Cork City and really parked the bus against Cork City, and they made Cork City look like complete fools on the pitch from start to finish. Mason Millia could have had more goals this season. Yeah, we're talking about Mason Millia, who is going to be on the verge of going to Tottenham in the new year of 2020-26. He is really focused on just St. Pat's. He ain't having to focus on Tottenham, and because he doesn't want Tottenham in his head and then to get too over himself. Mason Millia's focus is to help St. Pat's get into the European stages, help them to finish in Europe for next season. And it's just Crazy, absolute crazy. And he is on fire this season. 12 goals this season, 3 assists this season for Mason Millia. Mason Millia is killing it up front, despite that they have injuries to Zach Zebedee, because it was their front four / front five. Simon Powell was having a part to play. Obviously, we all know it's basically Jake Mulaney that's doing well. We all know that Kean Levy's doing well, and Lennon as well in that midfield. You know, and Forrester. I mean, yes, they're missing obviously Ramal Palmer. That's a big blow in their midfield, but they've shown that they've got enough squad depth. Joe Redmond, one of the best centre backs in the League of Ireland this season, and has proven to be one of the best. But losing 4-0, which is on Cork City side, I think is just wrong. Cork City, a team that I obviously wanted to do well this season. I mean, when they had Keaton, when you had Maguire, who's in and out of the team because of, you know, they don't want to overdo it with him in injury. You know, I had them to finish as high as they could and to finish somewhere in the table that they can be very proud of. Right now, I look at this team, since they got rid of Clancy, now they've got Nash, then they've got Gerard Nash in their team now. They haven't bought the right players at the right time. They've bought youth. They could have bought some experienced players to come and help these young players, because without experience, the young players are not going to get any better and not going to improve. Cork City had tons of players. You had Daniels in your team, who's gone to Kilmarnock. You had Troost in your goal, who was one of your best goalkeepers in goal. Right now, you had so many good players in this team. I mean, obviously, the biggest one was Keaton, Keaton was killing it in front of goal, Victor and John, You have Maguire, who is in and on and off the pitch, on and off the bench, and obviously can't rely on him because of injury proneness. It's not his fault that he's got injured, Gerard Nash needs to do something. If he can't do something, Gerard Nash don't deserve to be in as Cork City manager. These Cork City fans deserve better. If he can't get the results, if they don't even win in the FII Cup and they can't get into the final, even though, yes, the boost is that Keaton will play in the FII Cup final if Cork City make it to the final, which is highly undoubtable, but never say never. I still believe that they can, because anything is possible, right? Cork City are in a bad position, Victor. They're in a real bad position, and that is not the way for Cork City to go about their business. They are supposed to find a way to go up the table, get some results, and get these Cork City fans believing that Cork City can stay up this season. If they don't stay up this season and they don't carry on, start getting results, you can clearly say, as John put it, that relegation is completely confirmed for them to go back into the first division and to do it all again. So, it's now or never for Cork City, and it's now or never for Gerard Nash. Then I think Gerard Nash should just walk, because basically he hasn't got a clue what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing and who his best 11 is. You cannot go into a team and you don't know your best 11 and you don't know your formation. It don't work out.
Comment here from ladies man 1 to 3, whoever is that. That's a nice one. Another ladies man here. So Cornell's straight up, Josh Honohan going to Lincoln is a massive step down, and to either be Shamrock Rovers or a championship club. So, yeah.
Listen, just to add on that comment, obviously, look, listen, he's right. I'm straight up about Josh Houlihan going to Lincoln. I'd like nothing more than for him to go to Lincoln. Yes. Do I believe he should go to the championship? I mean, the championship would be a great move for Josh Houlihan. But basically, the question would be does he get into their team? Yeah? Does he get into their starting 11 team? He doesn't get nowhere near that starting 11 team. I'm not saying he does, because you never know, he could. But is he going to play every week over that player if they push him out the player? Because some players that have gone to the championship have done well in there, and some of them haven't done. When you look at us, Lincoln City Football Club, we are a club that likes to give young players, the side's experienced, the chance to really improve their game, and that's what we are. We are a small team that gives every single young players a chance, like we did with Brennan Johnson, like we did with Morgan Rogers, who's now gone on to playing Premier League football. And obviously having an amazing connection with the League of Ireland has really helped Lincoln City really improve players from Ireland. And listen, I would be very, very happy and so happy and proud that if Josh Honohan was to go to Lincoln City and really move there. I mean, look, the deal is not dead according to Daniel McDonnell. He's not wrong on that. There's still a possibility for that to happen. So I'm still optimistic that Josh Honohan will move there, but everybody's got their own views and their own opinions about it. But I respect that very well.
Yeah, just a comment outside of football, and that's directed to you. There's only one ladies' man around here, and his name ends in ELL, not 1-3. Cornell, you are being put on the spot, huh?
Okay, that's fair. Okay, I respect that, Mo Lester. Fair place to you.
Right, let's go back to sports here. We'll stick to sports. Because there was one that I was shocked with. That was Drogheda beating Shelbourne. I was shocked even the form of both teams. Shelbourne was going up. Drogheda was not really impressive over the last few weeks, and all of a sudden Drogheda collected the 3 points. How did you perceive it, John?
It was again a massive kudos to Drogheda. It's Kevin Doherty. What a terrific job he's done with Drogheda United. Other than maybe like in terms of manager of the season, that maybe if Rovers win the double or in the league or whatever, right, Stephen Bradley might get. But I got to think other than that at the moment. You got to say like the job that he's done with Drogheda is pretty remarkable. Really, they're still in the hunt for a European place through the league. Considering like before the season started, I think they would have had maybe the second lowest, if not the lowest budget in the Premier Division. I think like the likes of Cork City, Galway, Waterford would have had bigger budgets on paper than Drogheda, but they're up there and like and especially in a game like I think in every game against Shelbourne this year they seem to have had Shelbourne's number throughout this season. So they've recorded they seem to know how to get the wins against Shelbourne, and like it's a massive credit to Kevin Doherty and the setup he has there. Even the Kareem has come into the side. He's made a big difference since he's gone in. And Warren Davis. So they have guys that they work hard and they carry out the game plan which Kevin Doherty wants them to execute, and the kudos to him. Like, and they're still right up there in the hunt. Like, and even like I think even against Shell, it probably shows you how well drilled they are as well. In a sense, like the game, like the possession stats that they might be down, but they know that they need to be at their optimum and they need to carry out the roles if they're going to get results. And and I suppose it also helps obviously having a keeper like Luke Dennison, who arguably has been one of the best keepers in the Premier Division this season. So like massive kudos to them. Like I think Shells would probably be disappointed in terms like they'd be slightly disappointed out, obviously not coming away with a result against Drogheda. But I think ultimately they need to kind of, I suppose they'll be trying to hopefully get with the European games on the horizon as well to kind of get sharpened up. But ultimately here, you wouldn't. I think Joey O'Brien probably ultimately couldn't have any complaints with the result. And look, Drogheda, I think they'd be very, very, very satisfied with their night's work.
Cornell, your thoughts on that one, please.
Yeah, Drogheda, honestly, they found a way to win against Shelbourne. Shelbourne wasn't at their best against Drogheda, and despite all the hype from Europe and all the confidence that they're gaining and stuff, and then they're getting all their best players back like Boyd and so on. Drogheda found a way to win. They were the better side, and Shells will know that Drogheda was much more better than Shells. Look, Shelbourne is fighting for something that that obviously that they want, and that is to finish in Europe and get European football, which they have already got but to obviously get it for next season. Drogheda is really determined than ever to really get to find a way to make that happen. And this is the reason why Drogheda are the true underdogs going into this season, and why they are the team that people don't want to be playing this season. Drogheda had the plan, and you have to credit the way that John Doherty has really boosted this team and improved Drogheda as a team. He's helped them to be a quality side, a quality underdog team that can really excite a lot of League of Ireland fans, and not just only that, just to get the Drogheda United fans off their seats and really be entertained by the football that they've been playing. You've got players like Conor Healy, who's just been outstanding. You've got Danielson, who's been one of the best goalkeepers this season, no doubt about it. Obviously, yes, I think I did worry when they lost Douglas James Taylor, and I was a bit worried about their front line, and I was thinking, well, who are they going to replace James Taylor with? But obviously they've used the youth academy system. They've brought in young prospects from the youth academy, and John Doherty has believed in them and improved them as players. And this is the reason why Drogheda is where they are in the table, because when you have that full belief in the young squad or the young academy prospects that are coming through, then that's where your team is going to improve. Listen, Joe, we have to be honest here. Joey O'Brien has done an amazing job this season. He's come in, replaced Damien Duff, who left, and has really got the best out of the Shells players. He's got them into believing as a team once again, after all the speculation and talk on who to replace Damien Duff. He's helped them to be the team that they deserve to be, and that is to be at the very top and to be competing for European place, and they'll stop at nothing until they've achieved their goal. But also as well, I think Joey O'Brien will look at this and say that they weren't good enough against Drogheda and they could have done better.
Okay, before we move to the weekend games, let's just briefly discuss the first division. Dundalk is nearly there, although they were defeated by Longford on Saturday. Do you think Cobh Ramblers can still challenge for the first place, or they're better off saving some energy for the playoff, John?
I think Vitor at this stage, realistically, I think probably they'll have probably getting, even though they're probably mathematically they'll keep fighting for the league until it's not impossible anymore. But I think really they look kind of more likely than that, probably, to be kind of lined up for the playoff at this stage. And I think, but even at that, from if you're looking at if it's Galway, Waterford, Sligo, or even Cork City, if they go on a remarkable run, of those sides, I think you probably in the playoff you probably would be most wary of playing Cobh if it is Cobh Ramblers, because they do have a lot of experience. Like they have the couple of Shane Griffins, obviously Shane Griffin, the former Cork City double winner, and obviously winning the league with Shelbourne, and then obviously probably nearly half of Cork City's first division title winning team from last year is down there as well. So they have a lot of kind of experience, and they decide maybe it could be banana skin for a team. Like if you're kind of if it's Galway or Waterford, for example, who haven't been on a great run of games, like to be playing against Cobh, that could be difficult. But like, and it's I think they'd be kicking themselves, particularly last week, the fact that especially a game when Longford beat Dundalk as well, that wasn't capitalised upon from a Cobh perspective. And like, I watched bits of the game actually against Longford, and it was a game really they could have a few complaints. Dundalk and like Longford were full value for the victory, and I think like they probably, I still think personally they probably will have enough to win the title. But Dundalk, I mean, and then but still at the same time, I think with the playoffs, it might be as foregone a conclusion, like as people might have anticipated. As we all saw, even with a one-off game, even the cup a couple of weeks ago, what Kerry FC did to Sligo Rovers in the cup. So it shows on a one-off game, like a playoff, a first division team against a Premier Division team, anything is possible.
Yeah. So on the playoff, Cornell, it seems that Cobh, Bray, and I would say UCD, they secured their spots, but there is a remaining one, and that will be disputed between Drogheda United, Wexford, and maybe Finn Harps can have a say on it. What would be your bet between those three?
I think Drogheda United, I think, look likely. I think they'll have a point to prove as well. We all know about Cobh Ramblers, how well and fantastic they are as a team. Obviously we know about Kerry FC, how brilliant they are as well. But I think when you're looking at the bottom of the table and you think the ones that I think that could survive, obviously I think UCD are a team as well. I think that's in and around there at the present moment and stuff. But look, as we touched on, like Dundalk, obviously, look, they lost to Longford Town. That wasn't part of the script. It wasn't part of the plan for Dundalk to be defeated like that. We have to have a lot of respect for Dundalk, because Dundalk has been on a successful roll this season in the first division. They've been unbeaten. They've shown that they can be unbeatable, but obviously, unbeatable streaks come to an end. And Longford were looking at this and thinking, well, you might be unbeaten, but we're going to find a way to beat you and put you out your misery. But look, listen, I think it's going to be very competitive of who finishes, higher up. I mean, obviously, we all know Cobh is going to be up there. Bray's going to be up there, of course. And, obviously, I think it's going to be very, very interesting who finishes in the playoff relegations playoff spots. But I think UCD, I think definitely Treaty, I think will have a say in it. And I believe, but I think, look, let's just wait and see what happens and let's take it from there. But we all know that Dundalk is going to seal the title, and the title is theirs for them to win.
Talking of the title, let me ask the viewers before we discuss tomorrow's games. Will Rovers be crowned tomorrow? Let us know in the comments. We will discuss it very, very soon. If they haven't subscribed to the channel, it will be great if they can, because they help me to distribute the content. If they can let us know how much they enjoy this show, make sure to press the like button below. So tomorrow's games, I think there's one on Saturday. We'll get into Rovers in a sec, but before that, let's discuss another one that is vital for both teams, Galway, Cork. I think that's a game that can decide at least Cork's fate. As I said, John, if they lose, this is it. If they draw, they are still on the fight. If they win, maybe that will give them additional hope for the upcoming games, and can also impact the performance in the FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant one now. When it's, I must double check. In terms of David Hurley, with Galway, I must double check. I'm not sure if his suspension will cover tomorrow night. Will he be out for tomorrow night's game as well? And if that's the case, he'll be a big loss for Galway, because he has been probably one of their top performers in the last couple of weeks, and particularly in the games against St. Pat's. He was impressive, terrific. He was even in the cup quarter final in Inchicore as well. He had a very, very good game, and it's going to be an interesting one. This, and it's Galway. But I feel like the way they played against Pats, in particular in the cup game, that the quarter final, if they can produce that kind of performance, they'll be confident of getting the win tomorrow night. But like it's going to be, there's a lot on the line for both sides, and like I think Cork City certainly will be. They definitely need to improve, and I think that's one thing that Joe Nashville will the hammer at home as well after the Pats match on Monday, the 4-0 defeat, obviously we talked about earlier. There's no margin for error. Like that performance simply won't cut it tomorrow night against Galway, and it's a really it's a tough one to call, probably, to be honest, as well. But it's going to have knock-on implications either way. Obviously City have to win to have any hope of coming out of it, and like whereas Galway, I think they'd be looking for a result that, like they probably need a win as well, to be honest, to steer out of the relegation playoff, because they're 3 points behind Waterford and Sligo going into tomorrow night's game. So like there's a lot on the line for both sides in this game for sure, and definitely other obviously than the Dublin Derby. This definitely is the game with the most ramifications and the most at stake from tomorrow night, arguably, you could say.
Do you want to share a prediction for this game? Just a score?
I think it's going to be. It isn't too either, so particularly probably not Cork City. I think it's probably going to be a score draw, probably 1-1.
1-1, yeah, I would say the same. Yeah, Cornell, do you have the same expectation, or there will be a winner?
I think this is going to be a very close game. I mean, Cork City will know the stipulation now. If they win, obviously they'll be secured, obviously, in the League of Ireland and have other games to put it right. If they draw, then it'll be the same outcome. But if they lose, then unfortunately, it's game over, and I think you'd be looking at relegation back down to the first division. Galway United is in the similar situation, obviously with relegation as well, fighting to stay up as well too. So I think Galway United will know that obviously what their purpose is for them to win. But it's going to be very, very tough between both teams, because both teams are both fighting to stay up. So I think for me, this could end up as a draw for me, and I think it would be very, very nice to see Cork City stay up this season instead of being relegated and going down.
Right, let's move to Shells. Shells are hosting Waterford at home. I think both teams, they badly need the 3 points for different purposes. Shells to fight for the European spots, and Waterford to have a say in staying in the Premier Division. John?
Yeah, it's a topic it's touching on from like a Waterford perspective. They really have to kind of the eye over their shoulder as well, going by recent form, perhaps for sure. Like I think they've lost 4 on the spin now as well, if I'm correct, going into tomorrow night, and like they've left in a lot of goals as well. I think 50. I think they have the joint. I think highest or most goals conceded with Cork City as I think 54 they've left in. So like they've left that in, and obviously at the other side, they've probably a Padraig, like they have a good goal scorer in Padraig Garment, and I think he's still very, very much in the hunt. If not, winning the golden boot as well. So he knows how to find the net, but like it's a game that things are starting to get a bit nervy from their perspective. Obviously Shells, like it's been a terrific season, but I think they still probably would be hoping to kind of clinch European football even for next season, and if they do, they need to get a result here really. Tomorrow in Tolkien, I think Joey O'Brien would be hoping for that as well. And it's been a terrific season, like for so obviously qualifying for Europe, and to honest with you, coming in after Damien Duff as well. I think in fairness, you have to give Joey O'Brien credit in that sense overall with how he's done, and how even to qualify for Europe as well. The ship really could have sank after Damien Duff left you in another life, for example, because he was such a big influence on that group. But I think it also just shows how big an influence Joey O'Brien has been on that side as well. But like it's going to be a big one tomorrow night. Well, still, and Shells probably need the result to have any hope of getting the European place for next season. And like obviously Waterford as well, they're very much in the relegation playoff danger now as well.
Would you dare to share your score prediction?
I think Shells will win this one. I'd probably maybe 2-0. I just think that after neither result, but I just think the Waterford have not been in the best of form, and I think that could show tomorrow night as well. And I think Shells will get the result. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have the exact same result in my head. It seems I very much aligned, John, so far. 2-0 for Shells. And I want to tell the viewers, this is not a setup. This is as real as we are talking now on camera for you guys. Cornell, how do you perceive this massive game?
This is a big game, and this is a must-win for Shells. Shelbourne want to respond after losing their previous game. Obviously, they know that they want to still be in the shout and the hunt for European football for next season. Waterford, obviously, they are not in the best of form this season, and John Coleman has realised that they haven't been in the best of form, despite that Almond's been scoring goals for fun, and he knows where the net is, and he's top scorer with 13 goals this season. And obviously they will want the result as well, but Shells will be very determined than ever to get all 3 points and still be in the race for European football. Joey O'Brien, as I stated previously this evening, that he has done an exceptional, amazing job this season. You've clearly seen that Shelbourne have been fantastic this season, especially under O'Brien, and how he's really got the best out of them. Yes, he's had to rotate a couple of times to give other players a chance, but one thing for sure, Shells will be very, 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 very determined than ever to really get all 3 points and win. So I think I will go with the same scoreline as well, 2-0 as well to Shells, and Shells win.
Right, let's get to another big one for the title. Here we have Drogheda playing Derry. We all know how tough it is to play in Drogheda, but Derry has proved that they are a team to respect. So everything is possible, on my estimation. John.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one, and like. You know, it obviously kind of sparks memory a couple of weeks ago of the cup game. They were dramatically all the way to a penalty shootout. Or obviously, they actually was the other way around. But these the same two teams, Drogheda and Derry. You know, it's like Drogheda seem to they can execute. You know, like tactically they can kind of their games that even if like Derry, they'd be content even tomorrow night if Derry have the majority of the possession. Like Derry do have a lot of threats there. Like Adam O'Reilly's having a good season. That's in my head. You know, they like to have the possession in games. But regardless now, like Drogheda, or you know, in terms of how well coached they are, they don't mind not having the majority of the possession at times as well, and they know how to execute the game plan which Kevin Doherty is trying to put across to them. Like so, it's a game really, and it reflects what the both of them are in the table as well. You know, I think it'd be an evenly matched contest, and it's one as well that both sides will be hoping to get the results just to kind of. To keep their hopes alive for Europe for next year, and definitely it's a game with a lot of implications actually in terms of the European places. Like this game, I'm looking forward to watching some of them tomorrow night and seeing how it pans out, because it's an intriguing game and it makes for an intriguing tactical battle as well.
Sorry, John, but I'm very keen to get your score predictions, especially after we coincided on the last two.
I think it's going to be a close one. I think again, evening match, but I think Drogheda will edge just about. I think I'm going to go for a 2-1 Drogheda in this one.
Okay, not that different from mine. I would say 1-0 for Drogheda, but not that different. Cornell, would you differ from us on this, or are you on the same page?
I'm gonna be on the same page, to be honest, because Drogheda obviously have the chance to beat Derry, to do Shamrock Rovers an extreme favour of clinching the League of Ireland title for a 5th consecutive time. This game is very important for Drogheda to really go in. And like I've always said, it's never easy playing against Drogheda, because they have really shown their class and their quality, and how, Doherty has really got the best out of them. Derry City, on the other hand, have been in good, decent, impressive form, obviously bringing Fleming and Akemi into the fold. But look, it's going to be difficult playing against Drogheda, because Drogheda will defend to the very end, and they play fantastic, outstanding football. They always like to stand their ground, solid defending, quality football being shown on the pitch, and heart, soul, grit, determination. So I think this is going to be more of a Drogheda win for me. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Drogheda.
Cool. Now we're going to talk about the game that everyone is looking forward for this weekend, because it might crown Rovers, and I think they'll be highly motivated to seal the title. But both didn't want to be, the part of rival celebration. That's one thing that you really don't ask, is that at the end of the season you are participating in some other's team party. Would that be the case? Would that be it for Rovers on Friday, John?
Yeah, I think it's a game that they'd probably will be looking to get the title wrapped up, and I think they hopefully celebrating what probably would be a deserved league title. Like, even at the moment, they're 10 points clear in the table, and pound for pound, I think they are probably the best team in the league. You have to say at the moment, for sure. You see some level at the lads, like even Roberto Lopez, even at the back as well. Someone who's on the verge of qualifying for a World Cup with Cape Verde as well, to show some of the players that they do have, and even I think some of the game, like the European matches that they've had, and I think Santa Clara, they've had a reasonably enough. Just from checking the results, they've had a reasonable enough start to their season in Portugal, but that shows the level that Rovers have been exposed to, and that they can be right at home at times in the European games. It's definitely a game that if they do win a tournament, you have to say no one could say it's not deserved. But to know that Bows, they've had Shamrock Rovers kind of number in the recent past in derby games as well. Even the first game of the season at the Aviva, Bows won. And they have threats like Joe Dawson Devoy, Ross Tierney, James Clark. They have players who can cause trouble, and they can cause Rovers problems. But I think Rovers will be focused and fired up and looking to get the job done tomorrow night. And it'll be a big occasion, and it'll be sold out. It should be a good advert for the League of Ireland as well, live on the television and Virgin Media as well. So it's a game definitely. I think that should whet the appetite for sure.
Yeah, I think it will be a 3-1 for Rovers, and the other motivation for Rovers is if they secure the title tomorrow, then they can focus on the European competitions for the rest of the season. Perhaps they will be on the FA Cup final, I know that, but that will be a great advantage if they can divert their energy to the European competition. So that's an extra motivation for tomorrow, Cornell.
Yeah, the motivation for Shamrock Rovers is to clinch the title tomorrow versus Bohemians. Obviously, their record against Bows is not great. They've lost 4 times to them, which is not really the best of results, if you ask me. Obviously they'll be determined to find a way to make sure that they basically beat Bowls and really get be one up against them, because Bowls have always had their number, even on the first day of the season when they played them at the Viva Stadium. Bowls had their number when Shamrock Rovers had their struggles and had their problems. But Shamrock Rovers will be very determined than ever to basically beat them and to get the job done, obviously, or they'll have to be relying on Drogheda to basically like do them a favor. But I think they'll be destined to get the first goal. I think definitely with the European football on the horizon, Shamrock Rovers, I think, will just be taking one step at a time. Look, as I stated previously, it's been a fantastic season for Shamrock Rovers, and they are, in my eyes, they are deserved champions for me. And I can definitely see them clinching the title. I can see them winning it and really proving once and for all that they can be dominant in the League of Ireland, and they are the team that no one doesn't want to be playing this season. So I think it will be very, very tough from the first half. I think Bowls will try and make it difficult for Shamrock Rovers, but Shamrock Rovers will be very determined than ever to get the first goal and win the game, get 3 points, and clinch the title, celebrate in numbers, and the next focus is to get a European run going in the UEFA Conference League. So, yeah, I think I'm definitely going 3-0 Shamrock Rovers.
Right. So that's a game that is not much on the spot, but I think it's quite interesting. Even both teams are doing well over the last few weeks. And it's a typical League of Ireland game. You cannot really predict a winner here, John.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Like, I think Rovers, I think they've been reasonably good at home this year as well, and against all teams in the league. I'd say you're not going to get an easy game in the showgrounds, especially as the season has gone on for Rovers and that's a credit to what John Russell and the squad there have kind of created, and the form they have generated for sure. Pats, they be hope, obviously they need for their own motivation as well for the European football. And I think they probably will. Like, on paper, if you look at Pats, really, it would be a big disappointment with their squad on paper. So obviously Mason Meany, obviously he's going in January, but some of the quad like Chris Forrester, Jake Mulrenny, and if I know, just to name a few, just if their squad on paper, really, I think it would be a disappointment if they're not at the very minimum playing in Europe for next season. Then they have that motivation. They need to get the results. Stephen Kenny, needs to kind of, I suppose, get the result on the board, and obviously to get momentum going into the game next Friday as well against Cork City in the FAI Cup semi-final. So I think probably with the squad and the recruitment that's gone at St. Pat's as well, that Stephen Kenny will be and the club will be targeting silverware in the FAI Cup. And obviously it's probably of the dream. Obviously, the Cork Kerry final is probably the dream one, probably in this part of the country. But I think if it did pan out, the Pats and Rovers got to the final, you could have probably the two arguably of the best footballing sides in terms of the styles of play. So you'll get an attractive game, and I think we'd absolutely pack out the Viva as well. It would be some occasion. But I think firstly, for going back to tomorrow night, I think it's another one. I think that is fairly tough to call. I think probably I have fancy Pats to go over and get a result in Sligo, to be honest. But it should be a close one because Rovers still have in Sligo still they still need to get a couple of points on the board just to be sure or steer out of the relegation playoff picture. But it should be an intriguing game for sure, definitely.
Yeah, I'd say it's a 2-1 for Pats, but I would be very hesitant to put my money on it because you never know. Cornell, your views on this one?
Yeah, my views on this one is Sligo is not to be underestimated in this game. They've been in amazing form this season. Owen Eldon outstanding. 12 goals this season, has been in brilliant form this season. Not to be underestimated this season at all. I can see him going a very, very long way this season for Sligo. The same thing with Jay Hackey as well. John Russell has really demonstrated that he can really improve and get the better out of Sligo. As for St. Pat's, honestly, they are fighting for European place. They are fighting with the likes of Shells and Drogheda to finish as high as they can and to really win that European place for next season. St. Pat's will know that this is a must-win for them. They know that I think this game will change St. Pat's lives this season, especially with Mason Millia, as I mentioned in the podcast, obviously about him being focused on St. Pat's and not focusing on his move to Tottenham next year. Obviously with the likes of, as I said, of Mulaney, Simon Power and the Garricks and so on, the squad depth is obviously enough to get St. Pat's over the line and get more winning results on the line. But look, I think this is St. Pat's game to win, but I think it's very difficult to really say who wins out of this game because Sligo are just unstoppable this season. They've proven it this season, and it wouldn't be surprising if a draw is on the cards for this game because it's too difficult to call because both teams are fantastic. Mason Millia will want to increase his goal scoring tally to be top scorer this season to prove his worth and show Tottenham what they're in for. But honestly, I think this game is destined for a draw.
Right. So with this game, we close. I want to thank you folks for your insights. I think that they were powerful. There's so much to be said. And Cornell, we'll see each other next week. Perhaps I cannot do Thursday, but we'll come up with another date.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's no problem. Yeah, we arrange another date. And John, if I don't see you earlier, maybe we can meet each other in La Viva in November. I still dream about it.
The Cork Kerry national final the Aviva, wouldn't that be something? But it would be some occasion just to get whoever gets to the final of the cup. It would have shades of Cork, maybe Wigan when they won the FA Cup. The year they got relegated and playing in Europe. You could have a possibility Cork City are playing in Tralee or Athlone, and then the following week going to Bratislava or Prague. Such is the wonder of football. That it shows you that the Cork City, even though they're very like their relegation is a real possibility, but they're only 2 games away from Europe. That's the joys of football sometimes, and how these things can pan out.
So for those who are into the joys of football, make sure to press the subscribe button below because myself and Cornell are here every week, and also thumbs up exactly if they enjoyed what we deliver here on a weekly basis. Best thing is to let us know by clicking the right button below. And if they know someone who is into this topic and want to be updated about the League of Ireland, why don't you share that we can increase our audience? So with that, I thank everyone for being with us tonight. Enjoy the games on the weekend, and we'll meet next week. Have a good evening, folks. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.